Morning, all, and it is time to discuss jerseys again. So I'm into the Buffalo Sabres, which means we're into the Black Accelerator, Vanek. Of course, I'm wearing my yellow Buffalo hat, which couldn't match less with this than really any other hat in my collection. So there's that. And Buffalo's had a colorful history, so let's just go ahead and jump into that. So here we have the old-fashioned Buffalo Sabres jerseys. This one I know I got through Full Moon. I'm pretty sure I got both of these through Full Moon jerseys. The first Buffalo jersey I had was the goat head, which is coming up. Not yet, coming up. Buffalo jerseys are nice, and I know this is the preferred design among Buffalo fans. It's got the Sabres logo on the shoulder as well. Looks kind of weird. I always thought that looked weird that they have the logo on the shoulder and on the front. Now, they're supposed to go back to this color next season, so we'll see whether or not the design changes at all, or if they go back to this sort of a design. One thing I liked about it was that the blue and gold was different, and it wasn't something that looked like it had been borrowed from somebody else. And, yeah. So I think overall, sharp jersey, and one of the more original designs when you look at the logo in the NHL. And then there was the rebrand. So when they went to the Stanley Cup Finals, this is the design that they were wearing. This, of course, Hasek, famous for wearing this one. And I have it in black, and I have it in white. The white one I have is a Michael Pekka. I got this one through a seller on eBay. So again, I wish I could give a source and say, oh yeah, you can get more. The thing is, when I get it from a seller on eBay and I put it that way, it means it's from somebody's private collection, and it's the only one that they have. This one I believe was through eBay as well. The tricky thing with these ones, the logo, it is not built to last. It's built to fall apart. This one's a pro player. This one's a CCM. So CCM pro player, and in both cases, the logo's in pretty rough shape because it's what the Buffalo logo does. I don't know what it is with this one. It's the only one that does it, but it is. It's hard to find these in really good shape. That's one thing that I'll tell people who are thinking about, hey, I should start a collection like Shannon has. Getting these in really good shape is difficult. This is, I think, the third one I've had of the black one. I know I had one that was absolutely beat to death because the person I initially got it from was somebody who was a hockey player and had played wearing it. And I don't know if he led with the chest or what he did, but the logo was a complete mess. But I was like, well, there you go. I got a Buffalo jersey. And that's legit how I viewed it. Like, well, I got a Buffalo jersey. That's good. I don't need any more. That's how things were. That was about 20 years ago. So, yeah. Buffalo Sabres. This was their design for... It was for a while, and they did have a nice third jersey. So, this third jersey, it is very Carolina-like, isn't it? That was the one comment that got made about it at the time was that the color scheme it looked like a Carolina Hurricanes jersey. And yet, I liked it. The buffalo here along the bottom, it's similar to something the Kings were doing at the time. And the logo was something different. This was, genuinely something different, the crossed swords. The sabers, as it were. And, of course, then you've got the goat head, as people call it, on the sleeve. Again, and I've mentioned this recently, I see a buffalo. I don't see a goat head. I don't see a goat head there. But, yeah, I think it's a sharp jersey overall. This one, of course, being a Coho. This one I got from a subscriber. It's an extra large, so it's kind of big on me. But finding one in my size, it's not going to happen. These are really, really hard to find. So if you have one, you probably already know that, and you're probably not even thinking about getting rid of it. But if you were, and if you're like, well, I could use a couple of bucks, this is a jersey you could definitely fetch a couple of bucks. So after some complaints that the goat head, as it's known, wasn't a very attractive jersey, Buffalo heard your cries and said, you know what? We can do this. The Buffaslug. Now, in its first year, the Buffaslug, I do believe it was this one right here, the blue one, the most popular jersey on the NHL's website. And more people ordered this than any other jersey that year, showing that if you make new product, people will buy it. That's what that proves. This was it does look like a slug. I cannot see the buffalo as well in this, even though it's got horns. I guess a slug with horns. And it didn't help either that as this came into effect, the team was doing pretty well, and then it fell off the rails, and they're wearing this, so that doesn't help. That's one thing with a rebrand. That's the Islanders fish sticks rule. If you're going to do a rebrand, be careful of what state your team is in, because sometimes the rebrand might get some flack that it otherwise wouldn't get. Oh, in this case, it still would get it. This is just so off the charts. Absolutely off the charts. Ugly in my eyes, and yet I had to have both. I mean, how could I not have both in my collection? That would just be crazy. Now, a few years into the Buffalo Slug, I think Buffalo realized this isn't going over very well. So this was brought in as the third, which is the design that is a Reebok. Of course, you got the piping down the sides, which no longer exists. We'll get to that. But yeah, this was their answer. Was we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna bring back the old logo, but just as a third. Just as a third. People decided they wanted a shirt that actually was nice looking, so we'll do that as a third. And eventually, of course, it became the regular jersey, and this was the away version. So home and away. And again, the piping down the sides. I do not have an Adidas in white. I'm just going to throw that out there. I haven't been able to find one for a price that I'm happy with. And finding one at all is a challenge of an Adidas in white with the Buffalo Sabres. And then this was their third. For their 40th anniversary, they introduced this, and it was popular enough they kept it around for a couple of seasons. And it's a nice third. And so Buffalo showed in very rapid fashion they could actually still have nice jerseys. They were just kidding. And of course, this is the old color of blue. This is the new color of blue. And that, of course, would be a topic of conversation going forward. But at least fans had made the slug go away. Ah, yes. This isn't authentic. So I'm letting everybody just sort of let that jersey have its effect. So they went with another third jersey later. And they went, you know what? We've had some really good luck. Let's off it. Let's do this. It really does look like two jerseys smashed together and made this. A yellow one and a blue one. It doesn't match. And then what does the silver down here do? What is that? Is that for speed stripes? Or I don't know what that does. But boy howdy. This was like Buffalo's way of saying, hey, you like the new jerseys, just remember we can always do ugly. We can go back to ugly if we have to. We don't want to, but we could. And then Adidas takes over, and when Adidas takes over, well, they get rid of the striping, which is good. The piping really wasn't necessary. And they change out, of course, the strings, which become more pointless than ever, and it does kind of look like a dead fish. It's the only drawback to the current Buffalo jersey. Now, they're going to go back to their original blue color. That's the plan next season. And other than that, there really isn't a whole lot to complain about. I know I've mentioned in other videos that I thought that the silver stripe that was in here was kind of unnecessary. But then I look at their originals and it's like, it's fine. It's fine. The logo is really good quality. It's the big difference between the Adidas and the replica Reeboks. If you get an authentic Reebok, the logo is pretty good as well. But that's the thing. Not everybody can afford an authentic Reebok. That's why we all bought the replicas. Right? That's why I still have so many replicas on these shelves, or on these racks, not shelves, racks. So yeah, this one, they do have a nice jersey. I think it's mildly underrated by today's standards. And then when they had a Winter Classic, they hit it out of the park. So the Winter Classic that I have here, this is a tough one to find now already. And this is fantastic. This here is faux leather, which is why I don't wear this one very often at all. I do worry about this logo and how long it's going to last. But the neckline's nice, and I like the design here. This, of course, has been done by Dallas, Boston, other throwbacks, other, Winter Classic type jerseys. You'll see this rib design on the neck, and you'll see the NHL logo get dropped down, and then the cross hats right here. It's overall, it's a really nice jersey, and no complaints about that one. And then for their 50th anniversary, Buffalo did this. And right in here, of course, you've got the original logo. You've got the goat head logo as it's known. There's the 50. the crossed swords from that third, and then they've got the slug over here as well. So it goes into its whole history. And this golden buffalo, again, I know it's a 50th anniversary jersey, so it's not going to stick around next year. That's a shame. For some reason, just the amount of depth in that buffalo, if you can see that there, the amount of depth in that, and just how fantastic that logo looks, it is far and away. I think it's their best jersey, and it's going to be a shame when next year rolls around if they don't have some form of this jersey still in their repertoire. Because if they go back to a third, who knows what we're going to end up with, right? So in all likelihood, we'll get this color of blue right here with this jersey, and we may not get a third next year, or maybe they go back to a different one. Maybe they do like a goat head third. It feels like it's been long enough that if they did a third with the giant head on it, that people will be like, I love that jersey now, because that's what happens. We all complain about how ugly a jersey is, and by about 5-10 years after it's gone out of circulation, people are like, it's not that bad. And 20 years later, like, all right, I'll pay for it again. All right, yeah, I'll pay for it. And then you buy it and you put it on, and you go, it's still ugly. All right. And then 20 years later, you repeat it all over again. But this is their best jersey. So there you go. The jersey history of the Buffalo Sabres. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.